Joining us now for this sponsored segment is international keynote speaker, business owner, and podcast host of the Wake Up Stories is Andrea DeMille. Welcome back to you. We're going to start really serious. We are kind of slowly taking in the verdict of the Derek Chauvin trial, the guilty verdict. And have we had a chance to kind of debrief ourselves to understand and what happens next with this verdict?
Yeah, so this week is so emotionally charged on an individual, but also just with the nation. There's a lot of feelings happening, some celebratory, some mourning, some disbelief. I know I've recently had the question as, okay, if this was a white person, would everyone still react the same way? Honestly, I think probably not, just because simply we have that history of oppression and inequality and injustice for people of color versus white America. But that's what makes this so monumental. It's because finally we have a modern day story that ends with, accountability. Finally, we can see that for people of color, no one is above the law and everyone will be held accountable for their actions.
Where do we go from here? Because as we say, this is just scratching the surface with this. This is a start. But as we had the verdict read, a 15-year-old black female was shot and gunned down. So what do we do with this? Where do we go from here?
So really we need to stay focused on the bigger issue. While it's devastating that, Daunte Wright's funeral is this week, the 15-year-old black girl was shot. And in that case specifically, it's a little different. While it's sad and tragic that her family lost their loved one, she did in fact have a knife. She was attacking two different people. And I don't think it's fair and almost hypocritical to kind of group something like that in with the murder of so many unarmed people of color, our Ahmaud Arbery's, our Breonna Taylor's, Trayvon Martin's. That's a little different case, and I will leave the investigation up to the authorities. But really what we need to do is stay focused on how we can all make a difference in policy, in our community, and individually, in our families, in our schools, to create more equity and overall justice in the long run.
Do you feel that bias does play a role in law enforcement?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's this study that Stanford put out. They've actually conducted a study over nearly 100 million cases over the last 10 years in 31 states. And what this study found is that people of color are 20% more likely to get pulled over than white people. And they compared that to what we call the veil of darkness. And after dark, that statistic actually went down. So when officers can't see the skin color of the driver, black people are 10 to 15%, or sorry, 5 to 10% less likely to get pulled over by the police.
So interesting.
Right?
Real quick, we only have a few last seconds. If you could tell people who feel like hopeless, they can't do anything, they want change, could you give them a couple of tips?
Absolutely. It's interesting because First Lady of Utah, Abby Cox, and I were talking about this yesterday on her podcast. And what we can do as individuals is continue to have those uncomfortable conversations. We don't shy away from talking about don't talk to strangers with our kids, or we teach our kids how to have preventives, how to prevent pregnancy, how to prevent STDs. We also need to teach them how to prevent racism. We need to teach our kids, because they're the upcoming generation that's going to impact this world, so that they have a better understanding of what bias is. And we do that with the power of storytelling. Ask your neighbors, listen to podcasts like mine, The Wake Up Stories, and use those stories to educate yourself and everyone around you.
We all are waking up. Thank
you,
Andrea DeMille. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure. We could talk on and on, but we do have to go. Thanks again.
Yes, thank you for having me.
All right, what's coming up next, Brian?
All right, thank you much, Thuray. Coming up next here